Alright guys, so we're going to start to get into cards, which are a big part of a lot of frameworks lately. Bootstrap 4 has added cards instead of the old panels that they used to use. They're just a nice way of displaying content. They give you a border, a drop shadow, you can use images in them, links, buttons, and it just makes things look really nice. So what we're going to do here is just start with a simple card without a title. So this is the 3_1 cards.html file. So basically we just have two divs. Now before I go into this, notice that I have a row here and we're using the grid system. Basically we have two 6-column divs. Alright, that's how we're going to display these cards. So we have our other 6-column div, then we have another row with two 6-column divs. So it's like that the whole way down. Alright, so you can kind of ignore this stuff. It's just mapping out our grid. But for the cards, what we want is one div, which is going to have a class of card. And then here we're going to have a class of card content. Okay, and we'll save that, and that gives us pretty much the simplest possible card that we can have. Over here, let's add a color. So we'll do class card, and let's give it a color of red, and we'll even darken it a little. We'll say darken 2, and then we'll give this a class of card content, and we also want to give this white text so that it shows up on the dark red. Let's see, I messed that up somehow. Let's see. Oh, I put cards content. Should be card. There we go. So now we just have a red background, and obviously you can use whatever colors you want, whatever text colors you want. Now we're going to move down to the card with title. That's this one right here. So again, class of card. Anytime we have any type of card, it'll have that class. And then we want the card content, same thing. And now for the span right here, you'll see this is where we put the title. It's in a span, but we're going to give it a class of card title. Okay, so let's save that, and now you can see we have our title. Now these links down here, I want to add these links, and we want to make these look good. So this is going to be the action area. So we'll say class equals card dash action, and save, and there we go. So that makes that look much better. It gives it some padding, pushes it over, changes the color, also makes it all uppercase. So this is a card with a title and with an action area. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is a card with an image. So we're going to go down to this div here and give this a class of card. Excuse me. And we're also going to do right here, we're not going to do the card content just yet. We're going to do a class of card dash image. Okay, if you want to put an image in here, you want to wrap it in that class. We don't really need an alt. For the source, I'm going to use in my images folder, I'm going to use image1.jpg. Okay, and let's see, that's just the title, so we'll give the span a class of card title, and then this div here we're going to give a class of card content. Okay, and then we have our action down here, card action. So you can kind of mix and match. I mean, you don't have to have an action here, but you can if you want. We'll just save that, see what that looks like. Alright, so the title is going to be basically inside the image. Now if you wanted the title in here, what you could do is you could just kind of bring it down into the card content like that. Okay, but I actually like it. Oops, I actually like it up here. Where was it? It was under the image, and that'll put it inside the image. So we can also have a card with image and a floating button. So maybe if you wanted like a link, instead of having the read more, you might want the floating button link like right here. So we could go class equals card, and this will be class equals card, and I'm going to make this a different color. Let's say blue dash gray, and let's say lighten dash 4. We'll make it really light, and then we'll put an image in here. I'm going to say in the images folder img2.jpg, and let's see, we're gonna actually, you know what, did I mess this up? I did. This here, the lighten and the blue gray, this should actually be on the card div, so I'm going to cut that out and put that in here, and then this should actually be card image like that. Okay, and then we're going to go down here, and this is where we're going to put our button. So we're going to say class equals, remember the btn dash floating class, and we're going to say halfway dash fab, so halfway fixed action button. We'll add the waves effect and the waves light, and let's make it blue. Okay, and then for the icon, we'll put an add icon, a plus sign. So we'll add our material icons class. All right, and that'll give us the button. And then this div right here is the card content. And we'll save that. And that does not look right. Let's see, we have our card class, card image, and then our span, that's it. The span should have a card title. I'm sure some of you guys caught that. And we'll save. And there we go. So we have our title in the image, and then we have the little button here. So that could link to like the inner blog post or something like that. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways you can format these cards. Next thing we're going to look at is a horizontal card, which we can put an image on the side instead of on the top. So let's go down to horizontal card, and the first class we're always going to add is card, and then we're also going to add horizontal. All right, and then this div here, we're going to have an image, so we have to wrap it in card image. And for the image itself, let's go in the images folder and do image3.jpg. And let's see, this right here, we're actually going to do a class of card dash stacked. Okay, if we want to do a horizontal card, we need this stacked class, and then the content comes. So card content, and this will be the title, so that'll be class card dash title. And you're not going to remember all this stuff right away. You're going to have something like this sandbox as a reference to go back to make sure you have your right classes. But let's save that, and that's what it gives us. All right, so if we were to make this bigger, you can see the image stretches out, and if we make it like really big, it takes up the whole place. Okay, the whole thing. And you don't need to have a title in there. If we were to take that title out and save, you'll see that'll move up, and it'll take less size for the image to fill the whole place. So next we're going to look at the card reveal, which is really cool because it'll hide the text, and then we can click like the read more, and it'll then slide up and show us. So we're going to give this a class. We're going to give this just a class of card, and then we have an image, so we're going to do class card image, and let's also do a waves effect, waves light. Oops, it should be waves. And then let's also do waves dash block. The waves block will make it so that when we hit the reveal, the image will kind of get away from the corner, and it'll get sent down through the whole image and give it a nice effect. All right, so next thing we want to do is add in the image. So let's do image4.jpg, and we're going to give this a class of activator. Now the activator class is just that. It'll activate the reveal module, and when you actually see what it does, it'll make more sense. So let's say activator, and then this will be the content, so we'll say class equals card content, and then we have our title. All right, we'll have an icon. Let's make this more vert. This is going to be kind of 3 vertical lines, and give this a class of material icons. All right, and then we're going to go down here, and we can add an activator to anything. So I just want to show you that in addition to the image, we can give this a class, this read more, a class of activator, and that'll also activate the reveal. Now down here will be the inside of the reveal. So when we click it, this is the content that'll display. So we need to add the class of card reveal, which initially hides it, and then it'll show when we activate it or we reveal it. And then this will be the title. So let's see, say class equals card title, and for this icon, this is going to be the close button because we want to be able to close it as well. Okay, and then this here will be actually, this paragraph doesn't need anything, doesn't need any kind of class. So let's save and see what that gives us. All right, so card reveal, and if I click the icon, okay, so the icon's not working, but if I click read more, you'll see we get the revealed content. Let me just see what's going on with this icon here. All right, so we want on the card title, we want the activator class. Okay, because the title or the more vert icon, which is this right here, is actually wrapped in the span of the title, so we need the activator on that. So now if I click it, it'll work. Okay, and like I said, you can add the activator to anything. We have it on the image as well, so if I click that, that will reveal it too. All right, so now we're going to move on to the tabbed card. So we'll go ahead and add our class of card, and this will be class of card content, and then a card title. All right, and then down here we have a div, and we want to give this a class of card tabs. Okay, so at the bottom we have the card tabs div, just like we have the card action. If we want, we can have tabs. And then for the UL, we're going to have to give that a class or a couple classes. One is tabs, one is going to be tabs with fixed, which is going to kind of spread them across the top. And then each LI is going to have a class of tab. Okay, and the hrefs, notice that they're going to tab 1, tab 2, and tab 3. So what we want to do is these divs down here, we want to associate these with those IDs. So we're going to say ID tab 1, and this will be ID tab 2 because we want these to show when those particular ones are clicked. So tab 3. All right, and then let's see, yeah, let's save that. And then if we go down here, we can look at the tabbed card. Okay, so the tabs are working, but the content doesn't look right. That's because this div wrapping it should have the card content. That's what adds the padding and all that stuff. So we'll save that, and now that looks a lot better. Now let's say we wanted to add a background color to this card in the tabs. What I'm going to do is copy the entire tabbed card, which is from there to there, and we'll go down here and let's replace this stuff. This is all the same thing. we're running out of time here and I don't want to retype it all out. But all we have to do is let's add to this div here, the actual card, we'll add a color of orange and we'll say darken and let's give it white text. Okay, we'll save that. Now for this right here, this area, I want to make this black. So we'll go down to where, let's see, we want to go down to the UL and we're going to add, first of all, we're going to add tabs dash transparent because you can see that they're white. It's white by default. So we'll save and now it's transparent and you can see the background color. But what I want to do is actually make the content black, not that part. I want to make the content black. So right here we'll say black and let's do, actually we'll lighten it a little bit. We'll say lighten -4 so it'll be like a grayish. And then let's add white. Well, it's already white text. And there we go. So now we have kind of a Halloween looking card, tabbed card. All right, so now we're going to move on to card sizes. So if we go down here, we're going to have 3 image cards. So what I'll do, let's see, instead of just typing all this out, let's copy the first image card we did, which is right here, card with image. So we'll grab from here to here. And let's go back down to sizes and we'll go to the small. So this div ends here, so we're just gonna paste that in. Let's do it for the next one. So this div here, which ends right here, we'll paste that in. The large one, we'll paste that in. Let's change the images. So the first one will be image 5, this will be 6, and this will be 7. All right, so if we save that, we have our card images. Now what I want to do is show you that we can actually make these small, medium, and large just by adding a simple class to the card div here. So we'll say small and save, and you'll see it'll shrink it up. Now it's going to cover some text, so you might want to shorten your text, but or if it doesn't matter if it's covered, then you could leave it and just click read more, go to the blog post or whatever. This one here we're going to set to medium, so we'll save that. You'll see that that's a little shorter. Did I put that on the right? Yeah. Medium, and then let's do small. Oh wait, I did small, so we want to do large. Okay, so there we go. So small, medium, large. You can basically just change the heights of these things. Okay, so down here, what I want to do is show you about panels and also shadow. Shadow is separate from cards. You can put shadow on anything, but I just figured this was a good place to display it. Basically, a panel is kind of like what we have up here, just a border with the drop shadow. Except it only takes one class instead of the card and the card content. It just takes the class of card panel. So I can say card dash panel and save, and there we go. All right, so let's see, we're going to add that to all of these. Yeah, let's say class card panel. And this one here. All right, so if you just want like a border and some padding and stuff like that, you should probably use card panel instead of card and card content. So let's add some colors to these. So for this first one here, we'll say blue, and for this one, make sure it's on the card panel class, not the actual column. So for this one, let's say indigo, and we'll do cyan, and let's do amber, and save. And now we have a bunch of different colors. For the darker ones, like let's say indigo, you probably want the text to be white. So for this span right here, I'm just going to add a class of white dash text and save. And there we go. Now for the shadow, there's just a couple classes, and there's Z depth classes. So if we were to do Z dash depth dash 1 on the blue and save, you'll see there's no difference. So Z depth 1 is basically just, well, actually these have a shadow by default, so it's going to be like that default shadow. If we do 2, it should look a little more prominent. As you can see, it's now a little more prominent. For this one here, let's do Z dash depth dash 3 and save, and that's even more prominent. And then for this one, we'll do Z dash depth dash 4, and that has an even thicker shadow. Okay, and I believe 4 is the highest we can go. Okay, so that's how we can add shadows, and you can do that on buttons, you can do that on anything, but most of the stuff has that kind of default shadow. That's just the material design look. But you can make that shadow thicker with these Z depth classes. All right, guys, so this was kind of a long one. Because there's a lot of different types of cards that you can do. So that's it. In the next video, we're going to take a look at breadcrumbs and footer.